All right, we are live. A big good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on what part of this wonderful planet you're on. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon for me. So this is a rarity. It's normally when I speak to everyone, it's either a stupid early hour in the morning or very late at night. So it's nice to be doing this in the middle of the day. So I'm joined by Chris Mallard, the Daily Atheist, or the host of the Daily Atheist show. So how are you doing? It's good to talk to you when it's not 5 a.m. for you. What's going on?
I know, it's like natural sunlight is falling upon your face. What's going on? I almost don't recognize you.
I know it's a bit of a different kind of different feel, but that's okay. What time you got there?
Here it is almost 7 o'clock in the evening.
In the evening, okay. So I normally, well, that makes sense because normally we're 12 hours difference when we have a chat. So
18.
Yeah. Oh no, but 12 hours difference. Like we'd normally be midnight for me, and
yeah. Normally it'd be in the morning. Yeah. We're late,
but it's good. You've got that many Aussies who pop into your stuff that you make a point of obviously knowing the time difference. I'm pretty good. Hello, there's a few people in the chat, which is good. Hello, Vagrant Sam. Now Sam unfortunately can't join us today because he's at work. So he's got to get his priorities set there, Sam. You know, it's why should work come in the way of doing a stream? I don't understand.
That's crazy talk.
What's up with that? Randy,
what side is he on?
I don't know what's going on. Randy, hello, and your mate Michael, he's popped in. Michael Engelhardt.
I know, my buddy Mike is here. Hey, Mike, how you doing, Big Mike?
It's all happening. It's all happening. See, this is what happens when it's prime time in the US. No Aussies can jump on, but we'll get some people on the other side of the planet, upside down where you guys are.
Right, that's right.
You know, the right way up. I'm not too sure.
Well, you know, I've been threatening for weeks now to start a live stream in the evening US time. I just haven't locked in the ideas down in my head. So I guess this is kind of our first time, in the evening US time, doing the thing at the place with the stuff. And there's even the people over there talking at us. That's wonderful.
That's it. We're interrupting people's dinner, and that's okay.
That's all right.
Dinner time or lunchtime, depending on what part of the wonderful planet you are. So it's Tuesday here. It's Monday there, which is always exciting. Now you've got heaps of stuff coming up on the channel. So I'm going to do a bit of an update on what's going on here, but I thought I might sort of let you have a chat about, because the Daily Atheist has kind of taken off pretty quick, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's doing pretty good. Yeah, we're doing all right. I'm booked out for this week. I've got people scheduled in for next week. Matter of fact, I want to get more content creators. So if you're a content creator and you're watching and you want to come on and do the Daily Atheist Morning Show and show your show, do that. Now that you're feeling better, you ought to get back. With you though, me and you were talking about possibly doing something a little different. We just never got to finish talking about it, and which brings me around.
I lost my voice, didn't I?
What's that?
Of all the times I'm going to lose my voice, that's when I'm going to lose my voice.
Perfect time, yeah. But something interesting happened in your world, didn't it? Didn't you just have your politic all blow up? Everything went crazy last week or something.
A little bit. It's we've got a funny setup here. So we've got the party the parties that are in power. It's a coalition. So we've got the Liberal Party and the National Party, and the Liberal Party is kind of like the metro, the city side of things, and the National Party is like it's a country party that looks after farmers and sort of. Yeah. So they've always had a coalition whenever so the Liberals won't run against the Nationals and vice versa. So the national side of things, they always have the deputy prime minister, and they decide to have a bit of a kerfuffle and a challenge, and us Liberals kind of all rolled our eyes and just went like, seriously, get over it. But yeah, there's a few little kerfuffles, but it's nothing too major. It's compared to the wacky things that go on in America, it's pretty tame here.
Right. Yeah. It's like a circus, a zoo here, because you popped in, I think it was audio only, wasn't it, when Justin Scott was on the show last week?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, so we were predicting what was going to happen at the Iowa caucus. And the end result we predicted fairly well, I think, especially him. He's surprised with the Buttigieg, but the whole event was just a whole debacle. It was just a,
what? How does that happen? How in the world,
determination?
I love my country, but you guys are the world's leading democracy.
Yeah.
How the hell does that happen in something that there's millions and millions, possibly billions of eyes on watching.
Yeah.
How do you stuff that up? I mean,
How do you? Yeah. Well, not with class.
no.
And no, because they didn't. They just kept pushing it off and pushing it off and pushing it off, and then the results never came. I remember I was watching the Rachel Maddow show, and we were bouncing back before between CNN and MSNBC. We were watching them going on, and you could see their disposition changed as the night went on. There was no results. There was no results. They're like, "Oh man, this again." It's not the same thing that happened last time, but the last time there was the Iowa caucus, there was blah 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 happened there. It's not the same blah blah, but different blah blah. And we were thinking we got to get our ducks in a row, and then this happened.
Well, the irony is, it plays into the hands of two people. First, it plays in the hands of Donald Trump because he just goes, "These guys can't sort themselves out. It's all dodgy. It's all corruption." It plays into the hands of Bernie Sanders, who's the other. I guess he's the left wing anti-establishment. It's the whole look. The establishment's trying to stop me, but we're fighting back, and especially because it turns out he won at the end, and the way they released results, it's just like it helps two people. And I tell you what, if Bernie isn't the Democratic nominee,
Buttigieg won.
No, in the end, Bernie
did he? Okay, because it was bouncing back and forth there for a while, and I could have swore Buttigieg was the final winner. So maybe you're right. It was pretty close.
I could be wrong, but
because it vacillated a lot. One person would say Buttigieg, and then it was so I don't know. But either way, they're very close. I was surprised they would be that close. I thought it would be Bernie, Elizabeth Warren, and then Buttigieg. And then
I was kind of hoping Elizabeth Warren would go okay, but it's probably for selfish reasons, just because I think it'd be entertaining watching her versus Trump. I just think those two, it would just be so bloody entertaining. But
right. Well, forgive me for saying this. Any left wing nutbags out there like myself who disagree with me on this, but when the primary is over, and let's say Bernie is the number one and Elizabeth is number two, those two should partner up. They should. This notion that she didn't get the presidency or the nomination, she's going to be number two, and she just walks away is bad because she takes a lot of people with her. If he loses and becomes in second, he should run with her as her second. Whichever one is first they should team up instead of this run, and then whenever it's over, go their own separate ways and take their people with them.
In a perfect world, that would work, but that never happens. It's very, very rare. Very, very rare.
Yeah.
It's normally only if a deal gets done at the end. But let's see. And are you guys voting again today, or New Hampshire votes today? Is that right?
I think that's right. I'm not really a political junkie, and I was kind of hoping, but I'm getting into it. I'm getting there. I was kind of hoping. I've got lots of hopes, actually. As I develop an evening show, it's going to be partly political, so I would like to get somebody to help run that show who has a political mind, and I'd be able to ask them. But I don't know. I was hoping Justin Scott would come back on the show before the next one, but he's been so busy down there. And he's the American Atheist is flying, not American Atheist, another group is flying him over to Charlotte to help them get their movement going. So he's been really distracted. So he didn't get the opportunity to get back.
Well, I know the conversation I had with him, he really impressed me. And what really impressed me was it was pretty clear where he sits on the political fence. But he took such a straight down the middle, for the greater good line, and I just
really tried.
I like that. He, I could see the frustration with a few things, and I get that Trump is immensely unpopular with anyone, I guess, who's even in the right in America. But I get that he's immensely unpopular. But I really thought that Justin showed a lot of class when we were talking about that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the things that you and I talked about was, you're in Australia, they're a little more center line than we are here in America.
Oh, yeah.
And then, you've talked about, in my case, trying to keep it more center line. A lot of times there's this slippery slope. They talk about the slippery slope and it's like this, okay? In politics, it's like, but here in America, it's like this. Well, you don't really get to either side without going all the way. It's kind of hard to. So, like you said, I really commend him for being as good as he was about riding that center line because the slope is so slippery here. That's kind of.
I think the biggest problem is in America you don't have a middle. You've got
right.
you've got a far left and an extreme left, and you've got a far right and an extreme right, and there's nothing in the middle. It's a shame the two-party system because there'd be a really good space for a middle of the road sort of party. But yeah, which I guess we're lucky in Australia where we've got a centre right that's probably got a bit of a some part of a far right aspect in the fringes, and a centre left that's got a bit of a far left in the fringes. So it's very different. It's very hard for me, and I've noticed when I've had conversations with people in America, you guys get so fired up, like it's so tribal. It's just I think I made a Trump joke once. This is my early Twitter days, and I'll never do that again. I have never gotten so many hate tweets, and I mean I'm a former Christian leader, so I get the Christians all day, every day. But holy moly, I'm just going to do a quick shout out. Hello to Amanda and a hello to Purple. Good to see you both in the chat. We had actually had Purple on a stream we did with Navadia and Notja last night on their channel, and we're raising some money. Purple's someone in our community who has a need at the moment. So if you get the chance, you've got the wrench here, Purple. If you want to put the link in for your PayPal, Purple's got a need where Purple's stuck in a fairly small town and needs to get out of that town. I guess one thing I've learned in the US, there are places where being an atheist maybe isn't as safe as it should be. So, Purple has an opportunity to get back to Minnesota, and we want to try and help as a community as much as we can, because, I mean, it's within the Christian community, it's very easy because, you go and sit there for hours and get preached to, and if you have a need, they'll pray for you and potentially help you out with money. We don't necessarily have that set up within the atheist community. And look, I'm not a big sort of charity driver, I guess, but this is something where there is an absolute need. So if you get the chance, Purple, if you could put the link in for your PayPal, and anyone who can help, I guess there's a bit more information in there. Anyone who can help, please do help, because this is someone in the community who has a genuine need. So anyone who can, that would be great.
Right. Purple, I gotta ask, buddy, are you a Minnesota Vikings fan? Just there's a delay in the chat. I'll just ask the question and wait for the results. Skull Vikings. So,
I'm still in the Patriots unless Tom Brady shows up somewhere else. I might that could change, but I don't think it will. I've sort of been with the Pats for too long, and they were my first NFL team because growing up we never had it. We never had American football here. There was. Really? There'd be like an occasional 1 hour replay at some silly hour. We had like an American host called Don Lane, who was very popular here in the 70s, and he tried to introduce American football, and it just never took off. But then pay TV happens, and ESPN comes in, Fox comes in, all of a sudden, bang, there we go. We're all of a sudden getting these wonderful games and getting addicted, and it's not as tough as ours. And actually, one thing I do want to do, I actually want to get a few Americans online, and this is part of what I'm going to do with, I guess one of the things I've got planned for my channel is I'm going to do an American Reacts. So I want to get a few Americans, and I want to show some very Australian things, maybe just some of the, I guess, Australian hit songs that are classics here that you guys wouldn't have had. Absolutely, things like the State of Origin, Rugby League, and AFL, Aussie Rules Football, just sort of show you guys, or get reactions from you guys watching it for the first time, because that's always interesting. I guess bring a little bit of Australian culture to you guys on the upside down part of the planet.
That's funny, you don't hear those words together very often, Australian and culture.
Ooh, them fighting words.
I couldn't help myself. One thing I would really learn, I would love to learn about would be rugby, because all I ever see is clips of it. I have no ideas about the rules. It's like football without pads, and they just grab the thing and run like a bunch of fools.
Well,
I would love to learn the rules.
Here's the first thing I'm going to teach you. So there's rugby, as in rugby union, and then there's rugby league, which is league. So the better. So rugby union's it's played in more countries, but rugby league's the more popular, but it's only played in a few countries, and rugby league's definitely the tougher of the two. So that's something that I'm absolutely. I'll sit down with you. The best way. It's very similar to, I guess, the basics of American football, where probably the biggest thing is you can't throw it forward. It can be thrown back as many times. There's, I I guess as far as when the play starts. So you get tackled, you get up immediately, and you play the ball straight away. So there's no break or offensive team, defensive team. It's just you get up and you play the ball backwards. And the defending team has to be back 10 meters. So it sort of opens it right up, and that's why you get sort of, I guess, people running at each other pretty hard, and some of those very, 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 very tough hits. So it's but it's a distinct
lack of teeth. I guess that's hockey, isn't it? That's more hockey.
Yeah, it's. I mean, look, there's a lot of rules around, like, it's you're not allowed to, like, anything above the shoulders is a head high tackle. It's a penalty straight away. Probably the other difference is in American football, you just run over the line. That's a touchdown. In rugby league, you've actually got to place the ball on the ground over the line. So you can get over the line, have 4 people hold you up and drive you back out.
Oh, I see.
So, and Amanda's wondering if she is the only chick here. I guess that's probably because we're talking sport, but I don't know. Who else have we got here? I think we've covered most of the people who are here, but we'll definitely we have a big game called the State of Origin. It's New South Wales versus Queensland. It stops 2 states in the country. It's in Australia, New South Wales, Queensland are rugby league states. Okay. Everywhere else is an Aussie rules, which is a completely different game again, but very, very entertaining nonetheless. So we'll definitely be doing that. But that's something I want to do on the channel. So I guess, bring a little bit of not just make it all about religion and atheism and Randy wants me to explain a scrum. Okay, so I'll explain the rugby league scrum.
Right.
So what you have is so a scrum.
Wait, is the rugby league the tough league or the wussy league? You said there was 2.
The rugby league's the tougher of the 2.
Okay.
But funnily enough, the scrums in rugby union are a lot tougher.
Oh, okay. Okay, gotcha. Okay, because there's a lot of man holding together. I got it.
Well, that's exactly what a scrum is. A lot of man holding. So what happens? Okay, so the reason you would have a scrum is if the ball goes out, or if it's knocked on, which means it's dropped forward and hits the ground. So then what happens is the team that hasn't done that gets to feed the scrum. So there's 6 people in the scrum. So you've got 3 in the front. So the front rowers, 2 in the middle, I guess, which is the second rowers, and then you've got a lock at the back. So 6 in. The idea is they push as hard as they can. The ball gets thrown in the middle, and it's kind of like a push the other team over the ball. In rugby league, what kind of happens? They just kind of stand there, hugging the ball, just sort of gets thrown in at an angle, and whoever fed the ball gets the ball back. In rugby union, it's full on. They'll all pack in, and they're pushing ridiculously hard and trying to collapse each other. And the scrums in rugby union are a lot better. So so that explains the scrum. But so that's one of the things. So things like this is, I guess, questions about Australian culture. Because one thing is, I'm actually someone who I study and I'm planning to teach Australian history and politics. And one thing I've discovered is worldwide, and even in Australia, there's a complete lack of education on a very rich culture that we have here in Australia. It's just because we tend to, I guess because we're a global community, we tend to go to a lot of, English stuff and American stuff, probably more so American stuff now. But that's sort of certainly a big part of our culture. So, but I guess getting the rich history. So that's part of what I'm doing. Also, Friday night, just so everyone knows, Friday night Six Pack is staying. It is not going anywhere. That's something that I think is really important for community. Just getting around, having a chat, even if we're just having a couple of drinks on what is a Friday morning for those of you in the US. We want to do that. We just want to, so I guess, be here and kind of engage and definitely engage with the Australian community, which is, grossly... The atheist community in Australia is just non-existent almost, which is strange because we've got the majority or the largest religious group is non-religious in Australia, but there's so many people who struggle getting out of religion, and there just isn't the support structures for them. So we want to be able to do that, and I'm also looking at doing some more interviews. I had a lot of fun with the interviews I did on your channel actually, and it was addictive. It was very addictive.
It was a lot of fun. And I want to do it again. I'm really trying to work on the dynamics of that show, and I want to create a couple of more shows in the evening. Because actually, you started the idea in my head. Now I know I took it a different direction than you were probably taking, but in one little conversation, AP here mentioned that YouTube has networks that you can be a part of or create a network. Now I went and researched that, and that's kind of different than what I had in my mind about like a network was. But that did give me the idea of having different shows at different times to cater to different things. And of course, I kind of got it in my head. I tried to step out. You saw me trying to step out of the morning show, and I'm just not going to be able to. Apparently, I'm a feature, and people like that feature. But the evening shows, I really want to produce them, and I want them. I do want an atheist-oriented left atheist-oriented talk. I wouldn't be against a center-related atheist or just center talk kind of show on the thing. If we could do it, it's just really hard here to stay center.
Yeah.
And if that's something you want to work with me on, I'll leave that to you.
I don't think there is a center in the US, and that's something I'm learning. I guess, it's because I study politics. I guess the academic side of things I can look at, but the actual practical, there is no middle. I don't think there's really much of a swing voting feature in the US. It's just you're either one or you're the other, and I tend to find that people who are, I guess on the left absolutely hate Trump with a passion, and I find that people who are, I guess on the right absolutely hate anyone Democrat with a passion, and I don't get that. I mean, I guess the way I look at things is I think that in politics, I don't think anyone necessarily, and actually, well, I'll rephrase this. Most people wouldn't get into politics for the wrong reasons, because it's not the highest paying gig. I guess, there's benefits after, but I guess people, I think, get into it for the right reasons. And look, I know that there's people who I'm very good friends with who are on a different political spectrum to me completely. And what I often say to them is, I think we all want the same outcome, which is what's best for the country. We just have a different idea of how to get there and how to do it. But it's this whole, if you support the other side, you're evil. I don't get that, because I just think people are genuine in why they want to support someone or something. Yeah. It's just that different idea on methods. And that being said, there's some pretty messed up things that you see in politics, and there are some people who are really, like, especially the ones who are on the extremes of either side, who have really got some messed up sort of ideas that I think, the people mightn't be evil, but sometimes the idea can be evil. Absolutely. But I've noticed that it's, we get a little bit tribal here in Australia, but it's nothing like the US.
Well, you and I were doing our shows, and I started thinking about taking the morning, our show, when we were doing it in the morning, they were getting awful serious, and I was thinking about taking it more lighthearted and creating a separate evening show for that purpose. Yeah, that would cater more to politics. So we may talk about that if you're available.
Yeah, we can definitely have that conversation. I think the morning show needs to be a little bit lighthearted.
Yeah. I think Amanda was even talking about possibly joining us on the evening show too.
Who was that?
Amanda was talking. She's political and has some political notions and would like to join if I can.
Amanda's awesome.
Yeah, but I kind of think the morning show does need to have some levity. I get nervous, and my own natural personality when I get nervous is I start telling jokes and getting lighthearted and making funnies, and it kind of works. But to do it alone sucks. Having guest help is great. Having guests on the show is just wonderful. But what I need to do, I'm all booked out for this week. I've already gotten some bookings for next week. If you're a content creator and you want to be on the show, I've got a couple openings next week. You're welcome to join me anytime you want to be on the show. Just let me know availability.
Whenever I'm free. It's I'm free most evenings for me, so I'm always happy to, even if it's just for 10 minutes, jump in, say hello. So but no, I think it's definitely one thing I am loving that you're doing, and I'm going to shill it here for you. Is Sci-Fi Saturdays. How good are Sci-Fi Saturdays?
Yeah, I love Sci-Fi Saturday. All right, so thank you for that. Sci-Fi Saturday is a lot of fun. I like having the sci-fi ladies on because women are just so underrepresented in sci-fi. So I'm doing the Sci-Fi Saturday in the morning at 8 o'clock Mountain, so it's 2 hours later and gives people more time to wake up and stuff. But also, I want to start an evening stream, maybe like 6 to 9, 6 to 8, or 6 to 9, a 2 or 3 hour stream. And I say 2 or 3 hour stream Saturday evening because I want to get 5 or 6 of us together and play something like Dungeons and Dragons over the internet. Other people do it. It's kind of a thing.
I think One Ring and Jen are actually organizing something similar because we've had a few conversations because One Ring does a lot of D&D content with atheism.
Okay, I may need to get with him then.
Yeah, you should really get him on actually, and he does. So he'll use Dungeons and Dragons to explain Bible stories.
I remember him saying that. I need to get back with him now.
Yeah, really, really interesting stuff. He's it's quirky, but it's really cool. So, but no, hey, if you do that, I'm always up for a D&D game. So long as I don't have to be dungeon master. No DMing for me. But no, I'm a huge tabletop gamer. So,
are you? Then I'll keep you in mind.
Yeah, that's how I guess we all need those things that really kind of relax us. And I mean, I've got the gaming stuff, I'll jump on and play games. There's only so many hours you can sit in front of a computer before it drives you batty.
Oh, yeah.
So I actually do a lot of, especially like Warhammer 40K stuff. So because it's, you get to, actually physically create and paint the models. And I find that's very therapeutic for me. So it's one of those things I never grew out of.
I'm marking you down in the group of people to add for the game for our board game stream. So once we'll have to figure. I need to find out some of the legalities of it. I don't know if we can play Dungeons and Dragons proper.
Oh yeah,
for example.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
All right. Well, as long as we can, I'm down.
There's plenty of channels that do it. There's some big channels that do it, and I think a few of them are even sponsored by
Dungeons and Dragons,
Wizards of the West Coast. So who produce it? So
that's wonderful. Yeah, so I'm willing to look at that. Would be the first primary choice because everybody would know it. But it'd be, can we come up with some kind of atheist D&D or? But that's half the deal is getting into the world and admitting there's magic and admitting there's things beyond. That's half the fun right there.
See, for a laugh, I love to play a priest whenever I can. I'm talking about the holy light shall guide you and. And stop to pray for, everyone. I've just got to stop to pray to the God of Light for 5 minutes. It's just fun because I think the good thing about these games is it's pure escapism. It is fantasy. You jump into a world and you become someone that, I guess there's bits of you that reflect, but it's a completely different sort of character. It's you get to play that role, and I'm certainly, once upon a time I was a stop to pray and may the God of at that time, but it's nice to sort of to jump in and just sort of have a bit of escapism.
Yeah.
I think we all need it.
I think what I'll do, because of the limitations of StreamYard and conversation, I'll try to shoot for 6 folk. If I can get 6 people to agree to come on, we'll start with those 6 people and then work on a format. We'll have 6 people, and then we can if we have any one of us has any if we need a board or anything, I can always, whoever's running the board can add it, as an image. Anyway, we'll figure out the details, but I'm going to work on that. I'm adding you to the list. Several Bible-based D&D campaigns. See, that's wonderful. That'd be great to do something. That'd be fun for us. I wonder how that'd attract folk to the thing.
That'd be good because after we win the campaign, we get to keep all the slaves afterwards.
That's right. Well, kill some. Get to kill some, slave some. Yeah, that's true. That's good.
We get to keep the young virgins for ourselves. I believe that's what the Bible says. The moral God. So, incidentally, just for those who were watching last night, I think there's a few people who were watching last night. I couldn't help myself on Twitter. I've changed my name to Atheist Poser.
I saw that when you sent me the text asking me to be on the show, and I saw Atheist Poser.
Couldn't help myself. And Navadi has changed hers to Nerf Da. We're having a lot of fun with. I mean, I've blocked Ron. Ironically, I've blocked.
Oh, have you?
Oh yeah. He's just. It was a bit of fun and games to start with, and then he kind of when all the the homophobic and subsequently racist and just you there's only so many times you can have a conversation where he types, "Haha, I proved you wrong. You lose, I win." And it's just like
Christian, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But the good thing is he threw out every single one, and we were actually taking bets on how long until he throws out, this argument, how long until he throws out that argument. And it was just like he had Ray Comfort whispering in his ear.
Really?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. But we got a bit bored of him. But I don't know if old Saint Ron realizes, but he's provided us with so much content. Like,
really,
we've gotten 2.5 hour streams out of Saint Ron, and we've nicknamed him Saint Ron.
Saint Ron.
Yeah, we've nicknamed him Saint Ron the Wise.
Is he going to be another Darth Dawkins? Always bumping in. I mean, I've never met really Darth Dawkins. He popped into my channel a couple times, stalking Neil of all people in my channel.
Okay. Yeah. Well, apparently, Darth Dawkins, and I didn't see this, was in the chat on my stream the other night. I missed it. I know I have been starting to get more Christian trolls, which I love. If you're a Christian, I do want to have a chat. Yeah, not all Christians are trolls. Some are genuinely here to try and save my soul, and they're doing it with, all sorts of intentions. And I'm absolutely happy to have those conversations. Yes. But I have been getting a lot of trolls at the same time. And look, all I can say is, trolls, I love you. You're entertaining, and you give me so much content. So thank you. Thank you.
Well, I've got one Christian who comes into my channel or into my comments for my Evil God Monster of Atheist or Evil God Monster of Abraham series, and he'll tell me why I'm wrong, why my interpretation of the Bible is wrong. I think he's finally getting frustrated with me. Yeah. Today his comment was because I dropped an Evil God Monster 6 yesterday. And he's like, now you're just creating your own sci-fi show. This is all just made up. I'm like, dude, I'm just reading it right out of the Bible.
and St. Ron said, oh, you've misquoted the Bible. You've misquoted the Bible. I'm like, dude, I did a cut and paste. I literally went cut and paste.
Yeah.
But it's only the Bible if it fits the narrative that they're trying to get. For some reason, I've noticed on my end, it seems to be zooming in and out a lot on my camera. So
on yours?
No. So for me, it's stopped now. But I apologize if that's sort of making anyone dizzy. But
I see it.
Yeah, I don't know if there's something in the background or if I can't really see what's behind me because that's natural light there.
Yeah.
That's the way it comes. So I don't know if there's someone walking past. I think the guys who do our lawns might have been here earlier, so maybe they were walking past and was trying to zoom in on them. So. Yeah, who knows? I like what Purple has to say there. That's a good quote.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the notion of 72 virgins when you die, like I want to go through that 72 times. Well, I don't want to have to explain it one more time. I mean, I don't want to have to explain it at all.
I don't do this very often, but I am going to give props to Kent Hovind here because he actually said something really funny about the 72 virgins.
Okay.
And what he said was, it's all well and good to have the 72 virgins, but what you've got to remember is the 72 mother-in-laws. And I thought, you know what, Kent, that's actually funny. For all his cornball jokes, he finally hit a winner.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, let's talk about the trouble. Yeah, it's not worth it.
That being said, I love my mother-in-law. She's really, really cool and awesome and looks after the kids all the time, and I would never disparage her.
Yes. It's a common trope. The whole mother-in-law thing is just common. My mother-in-law is okay too.
Well, they mind you, and this is something that that sort of cracked me up the other day, yesterday, and people who were on the stream last night would have heard this, but I was having a conversation with my mother yesterday, and she tells me that on a Friday night she'll watch the show. She said, oh yeah, I often jump on. I don't do much on a Friday night. And I'm thinking, oh wow, okay, Mum watches my content. That's pretty cool. Okay, expected, but yeah, really cool. Wow. And then she says, yeah, I really like that Jen. She's so entertaining. I really like Jen. I'm just like, yeah, okay. Not watching for me, but because she really likes Jen. So Jen's not here, but Jen's little corner, very entertaining.
Yeah.
Sometimes absolutely makes Friday night six-pack. So
does she? Yeah, I had that Tiffany Lewis Lockhart on my show this past Saturday for Sci-Fi Saturday, and Jen got in there talking to her in the chat, and they're like, oh my goodness, and they just went off. As soon as we were done, they bounced over to Jen's stream and picked up the after party show. So yep. Jen's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Something interesting there, Randy's put, it was a Christopher Hitchens joke originally. That makes me feel so much better because I don't like giving props to Kent Hovind. I'm happy to say, well, Kent Hovind stole a joke. He stole a funny joke. So
no surprise at that at all.
he stole it from Hitchens. That's even better. Oh, he Hitchens, bless him. But that's great. That's great. So yes,
well, it does seem as though we were talking about this just before the show. Now you seem healthy again. All the prayers seem to have worked.
They did, yes. So thank you, everyone, who prayed for me.
For all the thoughts and prayers. I don't know if you saw. Did you see?
I was keeping up. I was normally watching it or catching up with things the day after. I'd see some of the things come up in the chat, and I'm just like, right, if only I was live so I could make a smart-ass comment back. And I think there was a couple of times I was able to jump in. But yes, thoughts and prayers, that's what did it. It had nothing to do with the doctor. Absolutely nothing to do with the doctor.
We suspected.
It was thoughts and prayers. So,
thoughts and prayers.
Thank you, Jesus or Zeus or whoever it was that was kind enough to. I don't know, who were you praying to?
Joe Pesci.
Standard. Makes sense.
Yeah. Who doesn't? Hovine. Comfort. Yeah, I see. Trying to do this without my glasses on. They're picking on me.
That's all right. I'm sure that Ray Comfort stole from Hitchens as well. They all kind of recycle the same kind of stuff. Not Hitchens. Hitchens was a genius. It's definitely at the opposite end of the political spectrum to me. But he was. He was a hardcore commie and literally a communist.
Yeah.
Literally. But that's okay because.
There are notions to be had. It's like the communism or socialism, communism, any of those things, anything will be bad when you apply far right mentalities to it. That's kind of my notion, So with communism or Stalinism, of course, communism sucked. They've tried it in different places. It's everywhere. Yeah. So, before we get too far and before we dive back into the politics, because what are your thoughts on a non-political, non-religious based show?
It would be an absolute delight to have a break from it all.
Yeah, so I've been thinking. My buddy Mike there, we were plotting out a kind of a show, something in the evening, because I need to learn about like the cannabis culture, how it applies to YouTube. For reasons, I know that was like a big major shift, right? But okay. I was thinking about one of the show ideas I've had was called Atheisting After Dark, and that's where we chill around and do what? Well, I'm not a big drinker. You've already got a drinking show where people can go get drunk at 3 o'clock in the morning if you want to. So I was thinking,
every show in Australia, but yeah.
Yeah, Foster's Australian for beers. I just got to do it every time.
Okay, here's something I'm going to clear up. I'm going to clear it up right now.
He's going to hook us up.
We do not drink Foster's in Australia. I have had Foster's once in my life, and it was a bit of wow, look at this. And it was terrible. It is the crap that we send over to our beer is so good, we send the worst that we've got over, and people love it, especially in England. Beer in England's pretty bad, though. So, we're very... pretty good beers here. We don't need that Foster's garbage.
Foster's Australian for piss. Sorry.
It's basically we've got a beer here, and it's Foster's is by the same company. It's called VB or Victoria Bitter, and it is without a doubt the second worst beer in the world. It is just but it's so popular. It's everyone. It's VB and 4X in Queensland. That's the big one, which is but, we don't drink that in New South Wales because it's only like a mid-strength beer. It's like 4%. So you've got to have the good stuff. But
well, here there's this romance. I think I'm going to say romance. That's probably not a good word. Good, but you know what I mean. There's this semi-relationship between the left and between cannabis. And then atheism, and I don't think it'd be a hard push to do a green, if you will, atheist show. That's where I've been going with my idea of atheisting after dark. Not necessarily sitting around talking about bud, just kind of relaxed. And I don't know though. I got to work on it. I want like this show right here, or these other shows that we do. Sometimes we pop on a show that's non-topical, and that is interesting for a little bit, but without an actual topic to work on. So that's what I've been thinking. That's what I've been struggling with. I want to come up with something that people are interested in that will watch. Well, we already got the atheism. Can we leave the atheism out of it and just have it being a stoner channel? I don't know. I got some work.
You know what? Some of the Actually, I'm going to rephrase this differently. I have never taken drugs in my life. However, I'm led to believe that some of the best conversations and some of the most interesting conversations you can have are while you're stoned.
Yeah. I can't tell you the last. Anyway, me and cannabis go way back. Way back. I did shrooms once. Did it, Mike? Were you there? Mike, I think Mike got them. I think Mike brought them. We did shrooms.
Don't dob him in.
No, I ain't scared. I'll drop him off. There's a bus coming. I'll toss him under it. But I did the shrooms once, and that was an interesting experience. Yeah, he was there. I remember because his girlfriend, she was sitting in a chair, and I would look at her, and she looked normal, except for her skin looked like Cheeto color. I mean, really, no Trump joke. This is long for Trump colon. And she looked all Trump, and then the wall behind her was doing this kind of thing. Yeah, so I did. That's my one experience with shrooms. That's right.
Just going to throw a quick hello to Ozman. Haven't seen Ozman for a little bit.
I know.
Ozman hasn't been doing that great. Hope you're feeling a hell of a lot better, Ozman, because I know that last time we spoke you were a bit, not in a bit of pain, but you're in quite a bit of pain, actually. So I hope you're doing a hell of a lot better, mate. And, hopefully that's all good. You know what? The worst thing you can do, and this is something I've learned with YouTube, you don't have to get it right every time.
Mm-hmm.
Try the Stoner Show. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, well,
wonderful.
Don't do it. But you might just enjoy doing it, and it's not always about getting the views. I mean, it's got to be about. It's got to reflect you. It's got to reflect what's important to you and what you want. Right. So you know what? If that's something you want to do, and one person shows up and watches it, or no one shows up and watches it, just do it. I mean, if worst comes to worst, it's therapeutic for you.
Oh, yeah. Well, I think I really my main concern is less about the topical, if I decide to go that route, as much as it is YouTube frowning on it. I don't want to get my channel shut down, my main account shut down by YouTube, shutting down all my channel. I don't want those kind of problems. You know what I mean? So
probably the only thing you wouldn't be able to do is take or smoke it
absolutely
channel
on screen. Yeah.
But if you kind of ducked your head to the side, or, you know,
had the puff cam. Just have a puff cam, so when you're going to do a puff, it just comes up with a, you know, make it switch to a picture. Call it a puff cam.
Something like that. So,
something like that. Yeah. Well, there may be rules here in a lot of the states. It's legal now.
Yeah, well, and that's the other thing. I mean, if it's legal, where I think it just come down to what YouTube's actual terms and conditions are.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's what I need to learn. I need some help figuring those things out. So.
I mean, look, you might just find that they let it happen, but you end up demonetized or something on it.
That's possible. You know, monetizations, it's okay. It lets you put the little thing down there, but that's not where I really plan on. If I'm going to make money from this thing, it ain't going to be from
no, it's not from YouTube. It's
merch sales or something else, you know. Yeah,
definitely. But and speaking of that, you've got some pretty interesting shirts I've seen popping up on Teespring.
I do. You know, I've got one. I know this is going to sound weird. You know, I don't really. I OCD on stuff. I kind of have a little bit of an OCD thing. So when I start something, I kind of I usually take it to a level. You know, so I started doing the shirts, and once I figured out the shirts, they're like, well, you can have more than one stores, and well, to have one store locks me into just this thing. So I created another store that's got yoga t-shirts and yoga stuff in there. I've got another store that I'm building with animal stuff. But then I made an animal shirt where it's got a cat. I don't like cats. They're tasty, I guess. And the whiskers get caught in my teeth. But I got this shirt, and it's got, you know, it says cat. My cat is the only deity in this house. And I made it on Teespring, and there's a little cat symbol. And I had it knocking over a Christian cross and a crescent moon and a Star of David. Had them all the cat had knocked them over, and they were falling down the shirt. And Teespring wouldn't let me post it. I posted it 3 times before I realized that they were. Yeah, I took out the symbols, and I posted the shirt without the symbols, and they let me go ahead and post it.
Okay. Oh, that's something. So I'm going to do a quick shill. I do have Patreon now, so and I am sort of looking at getting as much more content as I can out, and I guess, you know, Patreon will, I guess, help me, I guess, to be able to afford to do that and to sort of be able to dedicate some time and hours to doing that. So I've just put it in the link. Look, if anyone can help, even if it's $1 a month, anything. I do have to create some stuff specifically for Patreon, but you will get access to some of the interviews earlier. So anyone who can, I'd love to be able to do this a lot more often, and that will help, even if it's just something small. So so the link's there.
That's wonderful. I think that's wonderful. I had been actually meaning to talk to you about our Patreons because you do something some way, and I wanted to exchange knowledge. Take something I've got on mine that may be working and share it with you, and see if you got something on yours and share it with because Patreon's interesting.
I have a lot to share at the moment, but certainly learn. But that being said, I'm happy to learn as much as I can, and anyone I guess who has got experience with Patreon. Sorry, my dog. Sorry, I'm going to change the subject really quickly. My dog's got this thing. So what I've got is underneath my computer desk here. I've just got a couple of just towels because I tend to get I've got hardwood floors and we get a bit of dust and things like that. And because I like to do this with no shoes on, I just like to have a towel down so I don't cop the dust. But my dog has now become convinced that that's his bed. So and all of a sudden I'll feel this thing underneath me and there's a tail wagging and slapping me in. And my dog has just decided to jump under again. So it's sorry, it distracted me for a second.
That's all right.
Anyway, back to the shill. Yes, Patreon, wonderful. Links there. If you can help, wonderful.
That's right.
If not, that's fine too. Just come and enjoy the show. I enjoy doing this. I genuinely enjoy doing this.
Well, Patreon is. What's that?
And I'm happy to do it for nothing. It's just I can do it more with support.
With some support.
And support too.
Yeah, well, Patreon's wonderful. It's really good that lets people support you like that. It'd be nice though if you can get you some merch, some lines of merch up on the Teespring. It doesn't cost you anything to do.
I've done a few things. I've had a few ideas, and I've just.
Can I do a shill real quick? I'm gonna do a real quick shill.
Shoot.
I made this shirt here. Somebody they suggested it. They said, "Hey, can you make a shirt that says?" Fuck all religions. And I'm like, yeah, I guess I can. I don't normally swear a lot, right? Ask AP. But then I said, I can. And they're like, well, how about if it says this? Totally different message, tax all religions. So I made this shirt, which says both. And that's been a hit. So this guy who asked me to custom make this shirt did not purchase the shirt. Loved it. Said I was an artiste. Didn't purchase the shirt. Amanda purchased one. But someone else did not. So, I am learning Teespring as I go along. I don't know if you do this or not as well, AP. But I just learned how to do this recently, and it's not hard, so I'm just stupid for not knowing how to do it sooner. But if you use the promo code COOLMERCH, you'll get 15% off my merch.
Oh, well, there you go. I'm going to have to do that.
Yeah, see, so cool merch. And that way, so I keep posting my merch and I keep forgetting. I need to tell people, hey, well, actually, like whenever nobody has purchased a shirt since I did the latest cool merch thing. So, but I need to get it out there so people can do it. And then you too, with your wares, they give us a good little margin on the Teespring. So you can give a good discount and make it work.
I've got the same short-term goal for the moment, Purple, because it's I know my Patreon outlay is definitely a lot bigger than my Patreon income. I just keep seeing good content creators, and I just want to support them. So I guess help me help others and do more of this. That would be wonderful. So
that's kind of the deal. And you and I, again, when we get the opportunity, we really should talk about and of course, any of the other content creators as well, talk about the network that you and I were talking about. I've discovered that if I wanted to, if I had enough willing participants, we could broadcast the morning show out to a whole bunch of different streamer channels. Not just my channel, but I could broadcast it out to like 8 or 10 different other content creators and stream it out to all of them at the same time. That's an interesting thing.
I think there's a lot of things, and I think especially with stuff like this, I mean, it's still really in a very early kind of stage. I mean, as far as there's a lot of ways it could go, and there's going to be original ideas that come up. Some will work, some won't. I think the trick is just try things. Just try things. Try things like that. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, so what? Move on. You're doing something you enjoy anyway, and so long as you're doing something you enjoy, that's the main.
So that's kind of my idea. I've got lots of different show ideas. I just haven't solidified anything, and now I'm kind of want to put pressure on myself. I would like to start another stream in the evening.
Do it
a week from today.
Okay.
So I want to set myself a goal of starting the stream then, and that limits me between now and then. I need to come up with a format, get people to come on, do the thing, start producing it, get the ball rolling. That's why if there's another atheist, I've said this several times on my stream. If there's content creators out there willing to host or co-host, like AP, he helps me with the morning show sometimes. If you want to come host an evening show, if we get a political talk show, you would be the guy for a political talk. Really,
I could be a little bit divisive with my thoughts in America. That's the only problem.
That's
it'd make for interesting watching.
It would. Well, I don't know though. One part of me says I want to create a progressive atheist liberal talk show. That ain't got nothing to do with you, So I don't know. I mean, you would be a great person to have on to interview other people as a nonpartisan-esque kind of interview thing. But really, a bunch of screaming liberal nutbags is kind of another chorus, singing in the same song. Of course, some people like to argue. I don't particularly like to argue.
Look, I
don't. What about a debate show?
Absolutely, yeah, that could work. It's, I think that with me, it's, and I often say this to people in America. I'm on the right in Australia, but that doesn't necessarily mean I'd be a Republican voter in the US.
That's right.
I don't think I'd be a Democrat voter necessarily either. I'd probably be looking at individual centrist candidates. I would probably have a real hard time picking a side in America.
Yeah. I think if I were to move to Australia, I'd probably sit closer to where you are. I mean, you've told me some things about the wage situation, because I'm a businessman. I'm a businessman. I know what it's like to have employees and do these things. And whenever it gets too hard, there's a point where it's too hard to hire an employee. You're like you were saying, something like $30 an hour to have somebody run your coffee shop.
On a week. Well, actually, it was more than that. So when I had my coffee shop on a Sunday, you've got to pay. Okay. So first of all, Australia actually has the highest minimum wage in the world. So for me, just regular Monday to Friday, it's $21 an hour roughly to employ someone. Plus, then you've also got to pay 9.5% on top of that for superannuation, which is that sort of like the retirement stuff that sits there.
Yeah, I got you.
So if you have someone work on a Sunday, Sundays are all double time. So for me to have someone on a Sunday, it was $42 an hour plus super. So it roughly worked out to be about $46, $47 per hour to employ someone on a Sunday. So you couple that with open for 5 hours, and that's $250. It was expensive. So I just found myself, so what would happen is, rather than give someone a job, I'd just go and work there myself, because I couldn't justify, the business wasn't making enough to justify paying someone $250. And if you have one on, you've probably got to have a second one on as well.
Oh yeah.
And then if they call in sick, if they're a full-time employee, you've still got to pay them sick wages.
Right.
So we're very, if you want to be a worker, Australia is the place to come to. But the problem we've got now is, it's not so much at the moment. It's our unemployment's really low at the moment. But where we've had problems in the past is, it'll get to the point where it's nearly impossible to employ people, where you can't actually just go and if I'd love to employ, or would have loved to employ more people, but I just couldn't afford to.
And see, that's what I'm talking about. That would be, but there I would be more on the center side, just like you're talking about. So I get it. It's just here things are so divisive. That slippery slope again is very steep here. Once you're on either side, you just kind of all the way to the side. So I will absolutely try to keep that in mind, how to figure out how to make those things something come about. Because I really want to do something in the evenings, get something rolling.
I'm good for the US because I am centrist, so I don't take a side either way, and frankly, I don't care. I'm actually, it's as much as I'm right wing, I'm hoping that, or right wing Australian. I say that, and I remember it's got different terminology in America. It's one of the things, and this isn't in any way an endorsement, or I'm just going to be very clear of Trump, but the American economy since he took over, it has improved. Now, my business, I had imported comic books,
Uh-huh.
purely from the US, it has gotten so expensive because it's just the Australian dollar compared to the American dollar flipped, and it is just ridiculously expensive for me to import things now. So I'm actually kind of hoping that, as horrible as it is to say, I kind of hope your economy tanks a little bit. So I hope whoever you get isn't that
it's
great
going to.
for me. So
yeah, it's going to tank.
but I'm not as invested in what happens in America. I mean, yeah, obviously I care because it's I guess America's a bit of a big brother to Australia, and we're very very much intertwined. Like it's probably maybe Canada might be the exception, but even I think we're closer to the US than probably even Canada is at times. So. Yeah, we're often called, Donald Trump called Australia America's best friend, and I think Barack Obama did the same, George W. did the same, Bill Clinton did the same. So, and maybe they're just saying, maybe it's like the wrestling where they go, I'm happy to be here in Houston, Texas. Yeah, maybe that's just what the American presidents do. Oh, we love Australia. Yeah, we love you too, sort of thing. It's
I really didn't want to get into it because there's so many different layers of what's happening. But Amanda actually happened to point out that over in this other one, the economy has not become better under Trump. That's kind of one of those conversations where people who know more about the economy than I do need to really take over, because I don't know. It doesn't affect me.
It's probably. I guess. Look, I don't know about the economy as a whole, but definitely the American dollar is stronger, and it's sort of noticeable. It's at one stage we had the Australian dollar, I think, was stronger. So it's for every Australian dollar we'd get about $1.10 US. Now I think we're at 70 cents. So it's one Australian dollar gets 70 cents US. So there has been a big parity. So and that's been something over a couple of years. So that's not just a Trump thing. That was certainly happening under Obama. It was starting to go the other way, and obviously off the back of the GFC, because we got through the GFC pretty well.
Well, the rich are doing great here. It's just the middle class is getting decimated. It's kind of a, I think
that's a global problem in a lot of ways. So it's
there's also things like you can't take $1 trillion worth of taxes off the rich, and where's that going to come from? Where's that all going to come from?
I know. We have
now, oddly enough, though, I believe in your country, that's kind of what they would need. They just based on what you're saying, you need that kind of relief on the upper class, just because of the things are so upsy downsy over there. But here, I mean, we've got people who are just
actually.
What's that?
It's probably more on the middle class. It's a lot of our big business is in mining, and they pay big money anyway because there's a lot of danger pay, and they're ridiculously profitable. But it's the middle class, I guess, the small business owners who, they might only have a couple of employees. They struggle. And often it can be the high wages or the excessive rates could be the difference between employing another person or not employing someone. So, instead of, and it can make it hard, but no, we've got, so I think we're one of the biggest coal exporters in the world, so nickel, uranium. So basically we've got a lot of stuff in the ground here. We've got a lot of stuff in the ground. Don't have much oil though. I wish we had more oil.
See, all these things that you say, I kind of just makes me want to see you dive into the American politic even more. Like have this conversation now and come back in a month and go, well, what do you think about Trump's politics now that you've actually researched it and gone and look at the real effect of the economy and go and see,
Trump's politics, and I think they're too protectionist. I think they're ridiculously protectionist. I think it has a short-term boom on the economy, but long-term it's completely ineffective and it won't work. Because all that happens is you isolate other countries and other countries. So for me, I mean, the only reason that I kept doing business, well, I don't anymore. I don't import comics anymore. But and that's one of the flow-on effects. If there's a better dollar parity, then people overseas, like myself, like business people in other countries, will do business with the US. But it's too hard to do business with the US at the moment because it's too expensive. So
all the external tariffs they've put on, all for the problems we've got going on with thumbing our nose at all of our foreign partners. And then, of course, we're in so deep to China, it's ridiculous.
Wow.
There's just a lot of dynamics. That's why I wanted, whenever it first popped up over there about when you first said about Trump's economy, and I was like, well, I thought I didn't, and I saw now we've got over in the chat, we've got a pro-Trump against Trump, because this isn't.
And I'm noticing that, and it's so heated.
Brother, it's like this, man. That's what I'm telling you. It's like there's not a lot of center here. Unless you start the group ahead of time and say this is going to be a left group or a right group. If you bring it in just a mixed color group, they're going to fight.
So, and well, I guess that could make it entertaining too. But I mean, and from a neutral point, and I guess someone who does have an interest in politics and sitting on the outside, there is a lot of misinformation on both sides when it comes to American politics. I don't necessarily think that overall. I think the economy is going well in the US, but it's not long term. It's not sustainable.
It's all going on a credit card. Yeah.
That being said, I don't think Trump is necessarily as evil as he gets made out to be sometimes. And by the same time, it's you hear the same thing about how evil Bernie Sanders is or Nancy Pelosi, and I sort of scratch my head and say, well, no, it's just. But that's the culture that's around politics in the US, and really,
we watched. I
can see both sides of it, and like I said, I don't think I would probably not vote in the US just because I don't think there would be a candidate that would necessarily represent. I think the Republican Party. One of the problems is it's too. The religious side of things is far too entrenched in the Republican Party, and that doesn't happen here. So our right wing, there's a little bit of there's some religious people, but I mean, it's same-sex marriage was passed under our right wing government. We've just had in New South Wales, the state that I'm in, abortion's finally been legalised, even though it kind of has for years. That's been legalised under our right wing party. Now that wouldn't happen in the US. That would not happen in the US. There is no right-wing politician who would probably back, or maybe same-sex marriage, yes, but certainly I think abortion is one of those things that.
Well, not in the US. The same-sex marriage and abortion, because the right-wing politic of America has been, I want to say, usurped, taken over by the Christian coalition. The evangelicals now control, or I mean, there's no way that the people on the right here would support gay marriage, either one of those topics you suggested. Neither one of them, because
except for one very prominent Republican.
Who's that?
Trump.
For what? What's he support?
He supported same-sex marriage. He was the first US president who went into office supporting it.
I wonder how he feels about that now. And I wonder how much support he actually gave to it. Me and Mike were just talking about that today, because there are things he would say to get into office. Or say, lots of things he said before he got into office, but he would say things just to get certain vote. He went to the military thing. He had a fundraiser for the military, claimed to raise $6 million, only paid $1 million of that allegedly months and months later after being forced to do so by the media. And that was the thing me and Mike had talked about earlier. I mean, everything he does is a shill. It's a facade. It's a lie.
I'm just gonna quickly jump in because I am keeping an eye on the chat. Just so everyone knows, Atheist Christian has been in a lot of streams I've seen before. Not a troll.
He's never trolled.
Opinion. I'd love to say it'd be good if everyone can, even when we disagree, respect opinions. But I understand politics in the US is heated, so keep it civil. But I just want to say, definitely not a troll.
Right. He is a Trumpy, apparently, clearly by his post.
Absolutely, yeah.
But he's not. He comes in my chat all the time. He never causes trouble. I was surprised whenever he said it. I was like, really? And then he kept going. I was like, nice kid. Well, and then I've just been watching it, just kind of eating the popcorn.
I actually I get a lot of messages because it's I'm openly once again right wing, but right wing in Australia is different to America. I've got to keep saying that because I understand how divisive it is. But because I'm openly that way and openly an atheist content creator, I'm a bit of an anomaly. And I actually have a lot of messages from people, I guess, in Australia, the UK, and also a lot of Americans who say it's we think the same way politically, and it's really, really hard to. And I guess we've got to be careful that you don't want to attack people too much, because what happens when you attack people, all they do is they dig their heels in.
Right. Can we prove him wrong?
Or maybe he can prove everything else wrong. You've got to look at both sides.
Yeah, no, exactly right. Yeah, can he? That's the whole deal. I mean, especially in his case, because like you said, he's not a normal troll. He's not in here just causing trouble.
I don't think he's troll at all.
Yeah.
But look, what you've got to remember is it's not always a matter of proving someone wrong. It's okay. So one of my best friends, he is absolutely dying the wool. He is a far left Labor / Greens voter in Australia, which is the Greens are like Bernie Sanders, I guess you'd say. They're the extreme, and Labor's like our Democrats, but not quite as bad. I'm Liberal, so which is the right-wing party. Right. We will absolutely disagree on things. He hates the Prime Minister. I love the Prime Minister. It's he'll look at certain policies and sort of scratch, how can you support this and that? Right. One thing we agree on is we both want to see what's best for the country. Right. We just have a different idea on how that's going to work. And the thing is, there are different ideas, and there's certain things that will work in certain economies and at certain times. I mean, I look back and one of the greatest governments we ever had was a Labor government in Australia, which was the Hawke-Keating government between 83 and 95. One of the best governments we ever had, but they're on a different political side to me. Right. And then I can look at other things in the past and say, well, you know what? At the time, they actually did a good job. Right. You can't argue it. So I don't. I think history is often the judge, because I think at the time, an idea is unproven, and I think that's the thing to remember. Now, look, like I said, in the US, I don't think there's anyone who does represent, because even though I lean right, the Republican Party is way too religious. I always laugh every time I see them all around praying for Trump, because he's always got this awkward look on his face. There is no way he is a Bible-believing Christian. Like, no. About him, there is no way he is a Bible-believing Christian. But and I always kind of laugh. He's always just watch. Next time you see him and they all gather around to pray for him, he's kind of got this. It's almost like this little smirk where he kind of goes.
Yeah,
and it always
looks uncomfortable.
Yeah, so it's I look in. Vagrant Sam's actually put a something very interesting in.
I saw that.
The Yard Glass champion. So Bob Hawke, who was Prime Minister between 83 and 91, he actually holds the world record for fastest yard glass drunk.
What is a yard glass? What do you mean?
Big glass you scull the beer out of.
Oh, okay. I got you.
He's got the world record for that to this day. Every time you go to they'd show him at the cricket, and the cricket would be on in Australia, the Boxing Day Test or something. They'd zoom and Bob Hawke would walk in. Someone would always pass him a beer, and he'd scull a beer. I've got to find a clip of him sculling a beer at the cricket, and I'll share that just so you can get an idea of the kind of Prime Minister we had. But look, even at the moment, I'm reading a book. I'm reading an autobiography of our first female Prime Minister, Julia Gillard, and she was the Prime Minister between 2010 and 2013, so very much during my politically active years. And I was absolutely opposed to her. I hated her policies, and I still think a lot of her policies were terrible policies. But her book is probably one of the most intriguing books, and I have a high level of respect for her, because I think that, okay, I'm reading and her explanations for why she did things the way she did. I completely disagree with those policies, and I don't think they were ever good policies in retrospect or anything. But I understand it. Her intention was always good, and like I said, she just had a different idea on how to get there. And I think we need to be a bit of that. But I think bipartisanship, I guess, is something that is probably a lot easier in Australia for, and Sam, me and Sam always have a good back and forth, because Sam certainly doesn't bat for the same political team that I do. No. But you know what, and we've had some interesting conversations. But it's funny, because my journey and Sam's journey are so almost parallel, where we both came out of Pentecostal Christian leadership, into atheism. He's into the same nerdy kind of stuff that I am. I think he's a bit more hip hop, where I'm a bit more rock. But okay. The only thing where we really differ is our politics. But we get on. We get on. We'll disagree on things, and we tell each other we disagree. Do I think Sam's this horrible, evil supporting? No, I don't. Does he think I am? I don't think he does. I know, Sam, if you're there, if you think I'm an evil, right wing, crazy person,
nutbag, I think is the term.
for the hell of it. But
well, Vagrant Sam, I need to get Vagrant Sam on the morning show, buddy. So
absolutely, you do.
Yeah, he needs to come on, and I need to find out his mind, learn about him.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna hit you up.
Interesting guy. Yeah,
I've seen him on your stream. I don't think I've ever streamed. I think I might have streamed with him once.
Well, you know what you should do, because on Friday's a very special stream, because not only is it Friday Night Six Pack, it's Valentine's Day. So we're going to be talking about love.
Oh, love, exciting and new.
There's our intro. We're going to have to. So hopefully Sam will be there. We'll get you in, and we'll officially introduce you to, and then Sam would be really good on your morning show, actually.
So let me ask you then, if we were going to if there was going to be a debate format, do you think it would be Christian atheist or liberal conservative, or both?
I think you can do both. You know what I'd love to do?
You
know what I'd absolutely love? Because I'm a conservative atheist, I'd love to debate a Christian progressive.
That would be interesting. That's like a train wreck just waiting to happen.
That's going to be something that would.
Do they make such things?
Well, progressive. Yeah, I've met some really
Christian progressive, huh?
I've the church I used to go to, there was a guy, and he was always a bit of a problem for the people in the church, but he was actually a pastor. But he was a pastor in a team of about 10 pastors, and he was so far to the left, it wasn't funny. Like, he was like extreme. I respect most people who have got their views. This guy was crazy as far as his views. He was extreme, and there's extreme on both sides and crazy on both sides. He was so yeah, you do get them. And so I probably wouldn't want to debate him, because I genuinely thought he was a dickhead anyway. He was one of those Christian leaders who really thought he was pretty cool.
Yeah.
He'd make sure he was singing louder than everyone in the church band, and because he was the star of the show kind of guy. So, but I think with debates, I mean, you don't have to just pigeonhole it into left versus right, Christian versus atheist. There's so many different topics. In fact, something that myself and One Ring were talking about was we were going to have a debate on Monty Python and the Holy Grail. As to he said it was a Don Quixote film. I say it's a King Arthur film. So that was going to be a debate. So you can kind of go either way.
That's a good. I never thought about it like that. That's interesting. Okay, Monty Python could be Don Quixote. Yeah. Wow. I mean, as a analogy, as a yeah.
Yeah, it's a King Arthur movie, I say, but that's something that me and One Ring will sort out at some point soon.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, with debates, I don't think you just want to pigeonhole it, and that's something modern day debates does reasonably well. Is they don't just pigeonhole it. The format isn't always the best on modern day debates, because I've been on that before, and sort of last minute the whole format gets changed from a discussion to a 2-on-1 debate, and it's just kind of like, well, hang on, I'm not prepared for this, and it's 6 a.m. for me. But there's a lot of different things.
Guess that's what I've been thinking about. The wife enjoys that kind of thing, because that kind of thing brings drama and brings people to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and look, I guess atheist Christians in there. Maybe what could happen is we'll get atheist Christian on with myself as two right-leaning people, but from different viewpoints, and maybe have yourself and someone who's a bit more centre-left, maybe someone like a Vagrant Sam, where we can have a conversation. It doesn't have to be a debate, but have a conversation, an exchange of ideas in a respectful way. It's like I say, I wouldn't be a Trump voter at all.
No.
His policies are far too protectionist and economically won't work long term for the US. But by the same token, I don't think there's a Democrat out there that I'd support. I certainly Hillary at the last one. There's no, she is just as establishment as they come. And that's a problem with politics everywhere, especially in the US. Like I said, I'd love to see Elizabeth Warren get the nomination, just because it would be so entertaining. Her and Trump. You can just imagine it would just be like bang.
Well, you're right. You're right. It doesn't matter which side you're on as far as that sort of thing goes. There's going to be drama for the next years in American politics. Whether if Trump wins again, there's that left. If you've got a left show, it's just not. There's not going to end. If you got a right show, it's not going to. It's there. Yeah, and of course, atheist Christian, he is, well, you're familiar with his situation. He is probably the closest to your mentality as far as being a right-leaning atheist person. He's just a little more to the right, I think, than you would probably be.
If I was in America, I don't know how I would have voted. I don't know.
No,
I mean,
I'm just saying you and he are closer than he and anybody else here. That's all I'm saying. I'm not knocking you at all.
No. I guess what I was saying is, had I been raised in the US and my circumstances has been the same in the US, who knows? I mean, maybe I would have always been a Democrat. Maybe I always would have been a Republican. It's hard to say, but I'd certainly I'd be interested in having that conversation. So
Gotcha.
definitely.
Have you watched Atheist Experience?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay.
Love it.
They do a talk show. There's not a lot of difference between their format and the morning show, for example. Outside of, they're actually in a studio and they have callers. I can do callers. They had 5,000 plus live viewers yesterday. 5,000 at one time. We're watching that show. Yep. That's kind of my goal. I would like to get a show that rolls, but I want to do it every day. On a daily.
Now, I think, and look, you've got to have those goals, and I mean, certainly they've done it. Why can't anyone else?
That's right. The crowd is there.
Absolutely, it is.
And it's within my.
I think a lot of people watch it to watch Matt Dillahunty yell at Christians. There is a lot of that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. All right. So I'm going to fess up, guys. I've never really watched Matt Dillahunty before. And I always just assumed that if you wanted to succeed in the get around and talk to people, you had to be kind of but then I watched him engage these people and he's just telling them to fuck off right there on the channel, and just telling them they're stupid and just went off on them and blew. And I thought, okay, that must be part of the attraction. And now you say that right here.
I think that's what gets a lot of them in. But then you watch Dillahunty in discussions and debates with people, and it's very, very different. Very, very different. And most of the stuff is he'll have a conversation. In fact, on the show yesterday, he had a conversation with someone where the person was a Christian. They had a conversation, actually came to an agreement, and he went, hang on a second, how good's this? See, we can have conversations. We can get along. That's great. I've just seen Jen from Jen's Little Corner is there. Hey, Jen, there's a link in our group chat. If you want to jump in, come and say hello. I don't know how much longer we're going to go because I do have to go and pick my kids up. It's 2:00 here, and I've got 2 school-age kids that I've got to collect at 3:00. So we won't be going for hours. In fact, this was only going to be a half-hour stream, but now here we are. So it's always fun. But Jen, if you want to pop in, come and pop in and say hi. I haven't spoken to you for at least 12 hours, and you are my mother's favourite. So it would be good to get you to come in and say hi. So that way I can send my mother a message and say, "Oh, good news! I'm streaming and Jen's on."
Yes, get that one extra viewer.
Absolutely. So
she came and hosted in your stead one day. That was great. She did really good.
Yeah. I actually haven't watched that one back because I think that was when I was like ridiculously. And funnily enough, just after that, Jen got sick.
See, I told you, stay away from the microphone. You got to keep it back when you got the cooties.
I think you've passed the cooties on to us because I go on the show for a bit, I get sick. Jen goes on, gets sick. So you're patient zero as far as I'm concerned.
I see. I understand. Well, and Ozman cometh. He's got the cooties now, doesn't he? Or he's getting over it.
He's it's not that with Ozman. It's a few other things, but he hasn't been well. Yeah, he's really been unwell. I won't get into that because it's.
I thought it was the cooties. That's the only reason why I brought it up. I had no idea it was something other than that.
No, something completely different. But
okay.
Yeah, but
well, you can't blame that on me then. As long as it's moving in a not my fault direction, I'm all right with it.
Forget blame Math Pig. It's for those who watch Daily Atheist, there's a blame Math Pig hashtag. I'm thinking blame Chris Mallard.
Yeah.
Made sick by Chris, except the only problem is I'm Chris as well, so that could backfire.
That's true. Get the Chris's cooties. The cooties from Chris.
Yeah. So that's all right. And then we can just argue about who gave who cooties first. And
that's right. But see, here's the deal, though. We have no video evidence of me having the cooties.
No, like I said, you're patient.
I do cough and I'll say damp lung because I think it's funny. The wife says, "Are you trying to start something where you say damp lung?" I'm like, "No, I just got a lot in my lungs and damp lung." I don't know.
I'm just going to chuck the link back in for you, Jen, because I don't know. It's I invited Jen on, and then there's been no chat in the chat, so I don't know. It's maybe we've upset Jen. Jen, you upset at me? I hope not. No, Jen wouldn't be upset. But I'm just going to put the link in the chat if you want to pop in quickly before we jump off and say hello. That would be good. So there it is again. Yeah, come and say hi. Come and say hi. The more the merrier, of course. Well, who have you got coming up this week on the show? Because you've got a pretty full week, don't you?
I do. I've got a full week this week, and I'm already booking up folks next week. I've got Steve DeMarco from Atheist News is going to be with me tomorrow. So I'm excited about that. And then I've got a full schedule, like I said, for this week. Next Monday.
Hi. Oh, hang on. I can't hear a thing.
There we go.
We're laughing at you.
Oh, sorry. My phone's going in the background, isn't it? Sorry about that.
How are you? So Jen's not out yet. That's good. Came in. How you doing, Jen? Been ages.
Yeah. I was kind of all right. I didn't sleep well last night, so I actually I fell asleep in the lounge room this morning because I wasn't working today. So I wake up and oh, hey, you guys are streaming.
That's it. Actually, I've just noticed something there, Jen. We both have the same thing in the background.
What? The TARDIS.
The TARDIS.
The TARDIS. Yeah. Do you have a TARDIS in the background?
The TARDIS. It's on top of my microwave back there.
Oh, I see. Gotcha.
It's right next to my Chewbacca beer holder and
that got put back there. It's actually I've had a few different Doctor Who things in the background at different times. Mostly because early on Shannon Q got this thing of trying to pick out when I'd put Doctor Who things in. So I was mostly doing it for her benefit, but the other night when we did One Ring show, Hissy was talking about Doctor Who, and I grabbed it and shoved it there.
And a shout out from Amanda who says you look gorgeous tonight. Well, I'd say you look gorgeous this afternoon, but you always look gorgeous. So
I don't.
You talking to her or me?
Both.
Oh, okay.
Even the
sorry, Jen, I couldn't help myself.
I fell asleep in the lounge room with my feet up on a cushion thing and moved some weird way whilst I was asleep and twisted my ankle. So that was joyous.
Really?
So it's a good way to wake up.
That's getting old.
It's a good way to wake up. Oh yeah.
Hurt yourself in your sleep.
When you're pushing 50, you do things like that.
I am pushing 50. I will be 50 soon.
Yeah, I got a couple of years. But
2 years. I'm 2 years away. I just turned 40.
Same. Yeah, same.
Oh, yeah, you and I talked about that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Birthday buddies, knuckle bump.
Yeah, pretty close in dates.
Yep. So
I'm still young enough that I can say to you both, okay, boomers.
Except we're not boomers.
We're not boomers. We're Gen X.
Yeah, we're Gen X.
Yeah, I'm a funny one because I was born in 81, so I'm on the border. So growing up, I was
technically you're still Gen X though.
Yeah,
not anymore. Not anymore.
Have they changed the border?
Yeah, so it was Gen X. Was the cutoff between Gen X and Gen Y was I think it was 79 to 2. So it was sort of in that we were in that middle bit. So remember the whole Generation Next, the Pepsi. So we were Generation Next for a while. Mm-hmm. I became one of those annoying Gen Ys that
I thought Gen X went all the way up to 83.
No, not anymore. But then they got rid of Gen Y. So Gen Y is gone now, and it's just millennials. And 1980 is the cutoff. So I've gone from Gen X.
Ridiculous. 20 years before the millennial turned. They're saying a millennials. That's ridiculous.
Grew up within, I guess grew up in the millennium, and now there's then there was Gen Z. Then now there's Gen.
That doesn't make any sense to me. I would understand millennials being anyone who was 90 to 2010. Yeah, that would make way more sense to me.
There's a place on the internet you can go look and see what the dates are. I haven't looked at it recently, but me and the wife had the same conversation.
It's a loaded rubbish.
Yeah.
See, for me, I've always, and I have been that in between because I get driven crazy by millennials a lot of the time. Oh, he's coughing. You got that cooties. He's got
the cooties damp long.
Yep. But I guess I was always tech savvy enough. and had that little bit of Gen Y kind of traits where I got, couldn't stay in a job for more than 5 minutes and kept changing my mind on things to do. Although my mother used to say it was because I was a Gemini. However, now I know that star signs are bullshit, so that's okay. So it was, so it was interesting. So that's interesting. Yeah. So
by the
Amanda's.
way, hi, Chris's mum. You're awesome. Thank you. And it doesn't matter which one watches it because they won't know which one I'm talking about.
My mom's dead, so if she's watching and we got a problem.
Last night I was asking Amanda if she could adopt me, but turns out that we're the same age. So what month are you? We're going to see who's older here, Amanda. What month are you? This could be interesting. We'll wait for the answer because there is a little bit of a delay. So it's all fun and all good. But and Sam's 1984. That makes sense. 1984, very Orwellian.
That makes lots of sense.
All that evil kind of left-wingy stuff, but that's okay.
Wow.
Couldn't help that one there. I had to get it in. But,
well, I just look older because of my gray. See, my now turning freaking white. I know.
I'm not going to talk about gray because, I can. I was actually mostly gray by the time I was 30. I know I don't look it, but I dye my hair. But I don't dye it that often. So I end up with this grey strip in my part. So I was mostly grey by the time I was 30.
So Amanda's March of 81. Amanda, you are the older woman. I'm June. So there we go. So you can still adopt me, that means, because you're older.
8 kids. Atheist Christian has got 8 kids. Man, buy a TV.
Wow, 8 kids. Damn.
Hey, can somebody put a link to Trojan condoms for Atheist Christian? He needs a link. You know what causes that, right?
So with my wife, we had a really good arrangement that was made when number 3 was born, because number 3 was always a cesarean, always planned. And what happened was when we saw the doctor, they said, my wife said, "Can you just tie everything up at the same time as when you take out?" And they went, "Oh, but what if you want to have more kids?" We're just like, no, 3 is a good number. 3, and this is before we had 3. So it was at that point, puppy dog.
Yeah, my wiggle butt. This is Bailey. Sorry, she just she likes sitting with Papa. So.
All right, Sam, I'm going to put this out there. The similarities are getting a bit too scary here. What date? What date in June?
No, don't give out your birth dates. It's identity theft stuff.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for that. Yeah. My wife got on me for announcing.
No, seriously, you do have to watch out for that.
Well, in that case, don't send that. But
we don't want to know. Is Neil here?
Apparently, the 604 after party. I didn't realize that was.
They were still going. I was with them earlier. I joined them when they first started. Then I kind of bounced. I had to go do stuff, and then I got your message and popped on. So maybe they'll show up.
So I'm just going to throw this out there. Atheist Christian, 8 kids. How do you deal with it? Because I would imagine.
How do you feed them?
Yeah, well, see that's the big thing. It's easy for my kids because they just refuse to eat dinner every night. So it's put anything out in front of them. This is after they spend the whole day going, I'm hungry. Wait till dinner. Dinner gets there. I don't want it. I don't like it. You're going to be hungry. No, it could be chips. I mean, I've gotten them KFC before, and they've gone, I don't want it. And it's just like, it's bloody KFC, and you 5. Come on.
You wait till they get older; it gets worse.
Oh, I can't wait. Actually, my 9-year-old's fine. My 9-year-old always, she's always eating dinner and trying to set the example for the 2 younger ones. So,
the teenagers are so much fun.
I'm not looking forward to that.
And by fun, you mean hell, right?
Yeah.
I have, you know what? I'll tell you, I have a teenager. He is 15 now. I adopted him when he was 4 from his mother. Mm-hmm. And he's wonderful. I taught myself how to play the cello because he wanted to be like Papa. He taught himself and then started taking an orchestra and doing the thing. I started doing acting here in Albuquerque. They have this Netflix boom. You can find me as Chris Black on IMDb. He took up acting, wanted to be acting. Now he's into photography. He does stage and theater down in Odessa, where he's from. He comes here. He does movie projects with me, web series stuff. What a
so when's
wonderful
he
kid.
starting his morning show?
I'm sorry?
When's he starting his morning show?
You know, let's not give him any ideas. I've actually thought, because him and his mom's side of the family is really religious. Not really religious. They're just West Texas religious, West Texas Christians, cowboy Christians. And I've thought about getting him, if he wanted to come on to the show or be a part of the show, as long as it didn't cause problems with him and his family, in order to try to attract that younger crowd. To get I don't want 15-year-olds really. I would like 18 to 25.
Well, something I've been thinking of doing, and if I were to do it, I would hide her identity so she wouldn't be on. But my 9-year-old, she's really getting into a lot of the atheist stuff, and I thought one thing that people often ask me is, how do you go when you convert or deconvert out of Christianity with kids? Having to have those conversations with them. And I thought, well,
kids are very adaptable.
Yeah, it would be interesting because at the moment she's always asking about evolution and things like that, wanting to learn. So I actually got her Dawkins' new book, which is Outgrowing God, which is designed for a younger, probably a little bit older than what she is, but reading it. And because it's always got God in brackets, I always hear this little giggle and she's like, oh, God's in brackets. And he's comparing it to Thor. And I think that's really funny. I'm thinking, this is a kid who 18 months ago, 2 years ago, was really upset because she lost her friend God. Mm-hmm. And I thought so I guess kids are adaptable, but it's always interesting, I think. But it's something I'm thinking about. I don't know if I'll do it.
With YouTube, you have to be really careful about putting anything kid related on. Yeah. They're really cracking down. Under 13 is just a total. In my videos or in my descriptions, sometimes I want to say things like, go ahead, like my show. All the cool kids are doing it, but I don't say that just because of the crap that's been going on here. I don't want. No problems.
The more the background sort of picking up on anything.
Yeah. So it's just crazy. I don't want none of those. Just a little warning.
2 younger kids. That's the thing. I mean, my eldest, she's nearly 25, and
that's bullshit. I don't believe that for a second.
And she's still a Christian.
Were you 2 when she was born, or?
Haha. And she's still a Christian, but the younger one who's still at home with me, she's not a Christian, but she's spiritual. So she still believes in some supernatural stuff, but she doesn't believe in God. And that's fine. I'm like, that's your own choice, and that's what you believe, and that's fine. I'm not going to dissuade you from what you believe.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't dissuade my son. I let him. He just kind of picked up what I got. I didn't try to push it off on him or nothing.
Yeah, that's how I've sort of been.
Not allowed to tell his young kids about atheism because his wife says that God will strike him down. So here's the challenge. Tell the kids about atheism. If God doesn't strike you down, then tell them proof. Although that can be hard. And that's something, I'm lucky. And that was a hard conversation for me when I said to my wife, you know what, I'm atheist. And I did that earlier, I don't believe anymore. And it was funny because she had this look of relief on her face and she said, you know what, I've been feeling the same way. I was just like, holy shit, wow. Okay, that's so.
But that shows how close you are, because you'd obviously been side talking around things to the point where you both were moving in the same direction without actually realizing you'd done it.
Yeah. Well, funnily enough, when we first met, all the girls in her youth group, they said to her to be careful because jumping into a relationship too quick because I would lead her away from God. And at the time we just went, that's rubbish, and how dare they say that, and I'm a good Christian man. They were right. Turns out they were right. I did.
They were right.
Yeah. They were right. So any of the girls from that church who are watching going, ha, I told you so, you're right, man.
And there was a good prediction, because and if their God had half the predictive power that they'd managed to have, then he might be more believable.
Oh, no, God stuff. He said that there would be people who would mock him. I mean, Ronnie told us about Romans 1. So there will be people who don't believe, and that's a sign that I'm telling the truth.
Can you really mock a person that's not real, though?
I poke fun at Darth Vader all the time.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I suppose you can. Yeah. Well, you can mock an idea, I suppose.
Well, there was the thing. I don't remember his name. Right? Deconversion Man asked me the question of how can let's see. He said you can't disagree with God or make fun of God or have a problem with God if you believe in subjective morality. I'm like, why? Here I go. Watch me as I do it. Because you can't tell me what to do.
Yeah,
Just
but a
because
lot
I
of the
believe
time,
in subjective morality doesn't mean I can't have a problem with God. That's just dumb.
and a lot of the time, that's the big thing. It's the big trap that the religious will try and get you into, which is, well, is doing, and they'll throw the most extreme thing. Like, is it wrong to kill someone? Is it wrong to blow up a country? And
Right.
and I'll say, but from my point of view, yes. So morally, and I just go, well, no, hang on, morality is subjective.
Yeah. Then they start throwing out the whole, you've got 6 people over here and there's a train coming and there's a baby over here, but it's got a dish full of Petri. Get that shit away from me. I got no time for that.
I mean, if morality was truly objective, then every single person would have exactly the same morality.
That's right. Truth. See?
And we don't.
And
we
objectively
don't.
trying to prove your objective God, your God has objective morality, and then refer to that God's book, and that God's book is telling me how to kill kids. It's telling me how to have incest with my sister and my daughters, and
how to treat slaves.
How to treat your slaves,
My favorite one's the guy who had to have sex with his dead brother's wife and pulled out, so God struck him down for pulling out sex. It's just like, how is this in a holy book? Like, and why am I not surprised? Purple put up something interesting. Kicked out of Catholic Bible study at 8-year-old for asking awkward questions and making the nuns uncomfortable. Funny story about me.
What the hell were you asking the nuns, Purple?
Well, I see. The funny thing is, I actually had something happen to me. I got kicked out of, and this will make you laugh, Jen. It was a uniting Sunday school.
Oh wow! What the hell did you manage to do in one of them?
I said, very simple question. I said, well, how do we know that God's real? And they used the whole, well, then, if God wasn't real, then who created us? I said, well, then who created God? And this is me at about 7 years of age. Who created God? Well, God's always just been here. Well, why haven't we always just been here? Genuine questions. They asked my mother not to bring me back because I was too much of a disruption. And funnily enough, when I was preaching on stage, I used to use that as an example of why we need to be able to answer kids' questions, and we need to have our apologetics right, and we can't just dismiss.
Oh, you're a bad man.
so the irony is certainly there, and that's something another thing I'm actually planning on doing, and what I want to do is I want to organise for someone to actually interview me at some stage, because I actually do want to do my story, I guess, into and out of Christianity.
No, that sounds like Neil. You other Chris.
Well, what about Neil? That's right.
You're on Neil's, aren't you?
I'm going to see Neil. I'm doing Neil's show, I think, some point next month. But I want to do something maybe a little bit more long format on my channel as well, because a lot of people ask, and a lot of people come here, especially a lot of the Christians, ask, well, where's your testimony? Where's your story? Why you left? I thought, well, that would be something.
You could do it straight to camera. I did.
I'd help. Whatever you need.
I thought about that, but I think I'd probably rather go the more interview style, because there'll be questions asked that maybe I won't think of. So, and maybe I even see if Neil wants to do it on my channel as well after I've done his. But I think there'd be a lot. That zoom back in and out. It's really it keeps happening. It's sort of doing that. So, now,
actually, it's the focus is what it is.
Yeah. I think there's something.
I had a thing about something you said earlier.
I can barely notice it though. So if it makes you feel any better. They're all looking at me anyway. Me and Jen.
Oh yeah, no one's. You had something from before?
Yeah, I did, and I can't remember what you said before. So I can't remember what I was going to say, so it doesn't matter.
It'll come to you.
I'm sure I'll think of it another time. I tend to go through.
Worst case scenario, we've got the Valentine's Day stream on Friday night 6-pack this week. So,
you want me to do the intro song? Love, exciting and new. Sorry, you missed that earlier, Jen. You can sing along if you know the words.
I am not singing along to that.
That's from the Love Boat.
I remember the Love Boat.
Okay.
I remember watching it when I was younger, and Well, I can sadly admit that I used to watch the Love Boat, and I used to watch. I didn't get into watching Dallas. I must admit I found that highly, highly irritating. But I used to watch a lot of soap operas and absolute drivel.
Gotcha. So Fantasy Island, the plane, boss, the plane. I'm 6'3", so I cannot disparage tattoo at all. I can't say nothing about it.
Yeah. That's a decent height, Chris.
I'm all right. Yeah. I'm from Texas. I had to be as a rule.
That to let her, you know what? Absolutely, that works. We'll get you on to do that, Amanda. That would be good. So yeah, I was just going to say, as far as the
that would be great.
One of the things about my I guess having the cold, and I'm still getting over it. It's deep in my voice. So
now I remember.
I can do a pretty good Barry White.
I'll try and keep it remembered now.
Okay, go ahead, Jim.
Okay, you're talking about you getting kicked out of Sunday school in the Uniting Church, and I was going to say when I was still involved in the church, there was a meeting about how to try and get more young people into the church, and I said, well, for one thing, we need to stop pressing the idea that Mary had to be a virgin. Because it just flies in the face of science. And I upset a few people in the church, but other people said, yeah, right. No, that makes sense. We need to be more secular. So that was how much the Uniting Church had changed in its way of looking at things.
They had a big schism at one point, because I know like Fred Nile came from the Uniting Church.
Oh yeah. It was a big thing. I mean, the Uniting Church tended to still want to appear open and still have a lot of LGBT plus people in it and everything like that. And they started that push for it in the late 80s, early 90s. And when it got really big, it nearly tore the Uniting Church apart.
Yeah,
over it, because it was such a big push. But there were just so many strong-willed people within it that wanted to move in that direction. It went that way, but there were people who left. There were. And a lot of the little Pentecostal churches that sprouted up afterwards actually came from that schism.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Well, Pentecostal in Australia is the one Christian denomination that is rising. Well, all the others, and they probably get more people out of especially younger people, out of the traditional churches. But now I am going to have to end the stream pretty soon, because I've got to go pick my kids up in half an hour. So I've got
you better go.
Yeah. Sorry?
You better go.
So I'm going to get everyone to do a quick shill. So Jen, we didn't get you to shill earlier. So do you want to do a quick who are you and where do you...
I think they all know who I am. I'm Jen from Jen's Little Corner. I do a lot of science content and atheist content and occasional LGBTQ plus content. Check me out on Twitter at Jen's Little Corner, or on my YouTube channel, which is Jen's Little Corner, or you can click on my name. I haven't typed anything. You can't do that. I don't actually have the chat open at the moment.
Well, if anyone is in the channel, if someone wants to put a link for Jen's page in, that would be fantastic.
You can find me. Just search for Jen's Little Corner. You find me on Twitter. There's a link from my Twitter into my channel, but I'm pretty sure everybody in the chat knows me already. That's
even good. You are.
Yeah, even Chris's mother knows who I am. Mm-hmm. And loves me. Thinks I'm wonderful, and I love her too for that. She's amazing, and I haven't even met her.
This will scare you a little bit, and I did chuckle at this. You said to me, she thought it was so funny when it must have been when you were at your brother's place, and she said, I was watching and Jen's husband was just walking around in the background doing things. It was so funny. I'm just like, not Jen's husband.
No, they're not my brothers. We're staying in Albany with friends.
Yep.
So my brother was there, but they were my friends. So
I'm sorry, Jen. I don't mean to interrupt. I got to bounce. The wife's home. Got to go help her do dinner.
Oh, no worries. We're going. So sub to Chris. Sub to both Chris's.
Bye, guys. Thank you for having me.
No worries. Kid. Well, I will end it there. Look, thanks everyone for coming. I'm just going to do a quick link in the chat. So like I said before, I've got Patreon now. So if you can help support me and help me, I guess, be able to put out more of this stuff, I do really want to do. I think this has been actually a good time. So Tuesday afternoon for me works, funnily enough. So maybe a Monday night US show could be a regular thing. If anyone can help, and look, even if it's $1, it could be anything. Everything helps. It allows me to be able to spend more time doing less of other things and more of this, which is, I guess, it's what I enjoy doing. I think it's what we all enjoy doing, and it's
definitely
you're probably never going to make a living doing it, but if it helps and means that I can
It'd
sort
be
of get
nice to be able to offset some of the costs.
exactly, yeah, because it's at the moment I go backwards. A lot of that's probably because I tend to probably I spend more on Patreon than I receive from Patreon, but I probably do need to change that a little bit.
Plus, we do, when we set up first off, there's always a cost of software and bits of new hardware and stuff like that, and it adds up. It is quite expensive to start out.
Oh yeah,
Even if all you've got is a cheap webcam and a microphone, you're still going to spend money at the start.
and even
And
things
if you
like
start
subscriptions just to do your editing, and even like StreamYard, there's a subscription there that I pay for. So there's a lot of things. But yeah, look, if anyone can help, the links there would be wonderful. Thank you everyone for coming along. There's a lot of familiar faces, a few new faces in here as well. So it's been really good to see everyone, and I think we might make this a more regular thing. But thanks everyone for coming along. Friday night Six Pack will be on. Sorry, and it is Valentine's Day, so we're going to be getting our love on, and we're going to be talking all things romance, and no doubt there will be a few cheesecake jokes, because I'm sure we'll get every
definitely if we've got the two lovebirds in.
Yeah, so it's and I'm just looking. So Purple hosts a chat every midnight on a Thursday. So that could actually work. That could work on a Friday. I will. Yeah,
the Friday afternoon chats with Purple are always good fun to join, and he usually has a few Aussies join at some point during it. Either me or Not Sure. Occasionally Marrow, Ozman a couple of times. So it's a good spot for us to get on, and there's a lot of Americans and Europeans who and people from the UK, because apparently they're not European anymore, who get involved with that. So yeah, it's a good chat with Purple. Purple is good people.
And Vandalia makes a good point. It is Friday morning Six Pack for most. So look, I can't think of a better way to end your working week than by waking up early and watching a bunch of drunken Aussies who have already ended their working week. Talk about serious things before devolving into general tomfoolery. So the more the merrier. So that being said, I have got 25 minutes to get to my children's school. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming along, and we will see you all soon. So catch you all later.
Bye.